Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we are
Again on a Monday. Here, yeah, and we are back with a bang. Hopefully, the whole thing about today and Monday, and we are disturbing people's lunch hours is that we think that people are going to see us live, but they don't. But they do see us afterwards, so it's nice. I mean, people who have nothing better to do than waste their lunch hour on us, well, they can obviously take a look at us, but mostly our views come from later on. And thank you for all those people who are kind of tuning on to us. What we try to do is look at what's really trending on LinkedIn and have a bit of a discussion that so-called experts who keep yapping on about things without really understanding what chat gpt is. So at least here you know that if there is idiotic comment made, right, it is coming from either my mouth or Janavi's mouth, and it's not ChatGPT, right? Having said that, Janavi, why don't you set up our topic for today?
Yeah, sure. So we've already spoken, I think, around 2 to 3 lives about how e-commerce is taking over FMCG and what the future holds, etc., etc. So now I think it's time to take a deep dive into the consequences of this whole ecosystem and how it's evolving. So a
Yeah.
recent report by Economic Times says that FMCG has taken a huge hit with the sales force. They're not able to find the skilled people for their market sales force or their field jobs, and this is coming at a time when FMCG really needs to bolster its tier 2 and 3 market penetration, because the tier 1 has already, most of it has been captured by either e-commerce or q-commerce, right? And FMCG being an industry that relies very heavily on general trade, if it does not have the salespeople who can build a rapport with the kirana stores or make a deep penetration into these markets, then FMCG, the entire model that have been we have been studying since the last 40-50 years, is kind of lost, right? So I
Hmm.
think this is setting a stage for a huge change, huge shift, as you very rightly put in the title of this video, into how the market is evolving, of how the ecosystem might be tomorrow. So I would love to hear your thoughts before we have a discussion on this.
Yeah, no, first of all, couple of points. First is when you said Salesforce, and when I read that link, you know how no, away from FMCG I am, is that I thought, oh, their Salesforce is not working. So the app. So that was the first thing. The second thing that really struck me was, the have you seen? I'm sure you've seen called the weakest link. And I think that if I have to look at what made FMCG really succeed, right, it is the exact opposite of the weakest link, which is the strongest link, which is their rapport, the kirana store and the shop owners and everything, from a direct sales guy. I mean, if you look at any MBA who goes off from any institute and joins a sales job, this is the sort of work that they have to actually look at, for the first couple of years, maybe even more if you're getting into the sales team. And there was a lot of pride in it. There was a lot of, yeah, I'm handling this territory, and now I'm this general manager and stuff like that. And this is typically what I call the canary in the coal mine sort of situation, wherein when there is a canary that starts singing in the coal mine, that means that the coal mine is going to shut down. And this is clearly, these are the canaries in the coal mine. The frontline people are getting better opportunities, and the
Yeah.
moment that goes, the house of cards might just crumble down, is what I fear. Because
Yeah.
unless and until you increase the margins that you're paying to frontline workers, that might make your entire business model unsustainable. To look at margins, because margins are wafer thin in the FMCG sector. So this means that then, okay, then you have to go online. Then what's the difference between you and your famed distribution system, and your D2C sort of thing? I can see a very gleeful smile on your face, Janvi. I think you like disruption.
I am actually very much resonating with whatever you have said. Me being a person who herself started the career in the sales field, not in FMCG per
Yeah.
se, but in B2B. Right? I was in when I was working with Pidilite for industrial products, right? So, and Pidilite being into the entire consumer sector, I was day in and out working with the Fevicol and Dr. Fixit divisions, and these were the stories that we shared every day over a cup of tea, Anna ki dukan pe type of thing. So, so you're absolutely right. This is the kind of work that used to come with a lot of pride. Any MBA or any graduate who wanted to get into this entire marketing side of things or business side of things always wanted to start their career with the FMCG sales sector or any kind of sales sector, right? So, going into the market, building a rapport, building your entire distribution network, and it used to be sort of an
Yeah.
adrenaline rush once you get the order, or
Yeah.
matlab, it was like ek shipment chala gaya distributor because our target is done. So that target hitting used to be that
Yeah.
cortisol rush in your mind. Now, yeah, and FMCG really thrived on this because earlier there used to be no other competition in the market, right? Either
Yeah.
it was P&G poaching people from HUL for their frontline workers, or getting people from the top MBA colleges who will later become ASMs, NSMs, and so on. But
Yeah.
now, if you look at the entire ecosystem, there is D2C, there is drop shipping, there are platforms like Shopify and all. People are starting their own businesses. There is QCom. An FMCG salesperson, they'll receive what, 40,000, 50,000 max for
Yeah.
at a good position. A
Yeah.
similar salary is getting, a delivery person is getting in Zomato or Blinkit or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that is a job where you have commission basis, or you can ride your taxi on an Ola and Uber, or you can have an Airbnb. So your landscape is evolving like anything. There are n number of resources where you don't need to hold down a 9 to 5 jobs for a similar kind of salary. You can do 10 different things, and you can earn maybe 10 times of what you're earning in one salary when you're working 12, 15 hours a day. So I think this also brings into light how the expansion of gig economy overall is
Mm.
forcing FMCG to change the way it has always gone into the market, how the ITC or the HULs have built their own, marketing management portfolio around the Kotler principles. So,
Yeah, but I'm wondering, since you've had some exposure to Pidilite, and you know how we understand the adrenaline stuff and all of that. But if I have to take a 360-degree view and look at, say, suppose you're in a decision-making situation for FMCGs, right? And you're seeing this. First of all, you're seeing it a little too late. But if you're seeing this, what do you think responses are going to be like? What do you think? Is there any how would I say, is there any kind of either short term or long term solution for it? And I personally am struggling to actually look at any kind of solution that an FMCG sector player will have towards a situation which is so critically central to their business.
I think one of the things that FMCG does not realize is it has a very widespread network, something that e-commerce and q-commerce is very much trying to build.
Yeah.
So rather than allow just sitting back and doing what you have always been doing since the last 50 years and letting the Blinkits and Swiggy Instamarts of this world capture your market, why don't you leverage the network that you have already built? Now look at ITC. It is trying to go online. Obviously it is doing it in a very stupid way, but it is at least trying to come online. It is building its own apps. It is trying, I mean, it's getting there somewhere, right? But if you look at HULs and every Unilever and all of these companies, they're completely gone from the online landscape. They're still just relying on the kirana stores. So why don't you try to build a model like like the Geomart wanted to initially,
Hmm.
where you're looking at dark stores, where you're creating franchisees among those kirana stores itself? Leverage your network. So obviously we are not going to give you our trade secrets in this live, but I mean, there are n number of things that FMCG can do right now so that it does not become an extinct animal tomorrow like a Kotek
No, I
did.
think first of all, ITC Jahnavi has expressed her concern about your ways in which you're trying to go online. Let me remind everybody that we are open for business from ITC and anybody else for this, and Jahnavi's views remain her own. But on that happy note, coming back to, I know at least they're trying. So to be honest, if you keep trying, then you will fail and then you'll do it things again. The
Yeah.
point that I wanted to make was, if I look at the FMCG sector, I think it is very difficult because there's so many backward things that you have to do, right? So all the incentivization structure, or the which the sales force is hired, and all the hire and everything. So all of it, there's history to it, there's learning, there's knowledge to it, and that knowledge may not be required or transferable to the new situation. So while you might say that the externality is saying, hey, you have a network, but actually, do you have a network, or do you is that network totally dependent on a lot of things which become redundant in the new thing? So that
Yeah.
it's not like McDonald's buying real estate and then putting burger shops over there. The real estate remains valuable. Does the network, which is a bit of an abstract concept, it's not real as solid as real estate, still stay true? I don't know the answer to this, but I think that there might be a deeper trouble ahead for FMCG.
Yeah, I think
Would
it
you agree
seems
with
like
that?
a very interesting landscape that will unfold as we see gradually. And 1 or 2 years down the line, we should have some really either things going a lot of flop or things rapidly changing.
But one thing we can certainly say is that if our observations have turned out to be false in a year or so, we will
Yeah.
happily eat humble pie on this LinkedIn Live, right? Because we are more than happy to learn,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and I would be personally very happy if it turns out to be wrong, because nobody wants a doomsday conviction for businesses. That's the backbone of our economy.
I like the way Jahnavi is smiling when she's saying doomsday conviction, as if, I don't know what to believe, your data or your metadata. Jahnavi, I don't know what to believe, but let's stop this conversation while we're ahead of ourselves. It's already 11 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back soon to trouble